On July 21st, 2019, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe romped home to a convincing victory in Japan's upper house elections. Mr. Abe's triumph had helped boost his long-held ambition of revising Japan's pacifist constitution and rearming the nation.
彼が憲法を変えることに成功すると、憲法を変えることに成功した最初の首相になります。
His plan, however, suffered a huge setback when he failed to secure a supermajority in parliament.
The LDP, Liberal Democratic Party, and the Komeito coalition failed to get the two-thirds majority in the upper house, which is necessary to propose constitutional revision.
But has the time really come for Japan to rearm and break out of its shell? Will the majority of the people who remember the horrors of the world's first atomic bombings on their soil share Japan's remilitarization efforts? And will Mr. Abe's ambition threaten peace and stability in the region? "74 years have passed since the world's first atomic bombs were dropped over the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. But the pain and the deep emotional scars linger on to this day as the people gathered to offer prayers in memory of those killed in the bombings. Satoshi Tanaka was not even 2 years old when the bombing took place. But he remembers clearly the period of grief and pain his family suffered during his growing up years.
母は私をおんぶして背負って、広島に入りました。で父は少し遅れて入ってくるんです。一面焼け野原だから家が分かりません。どの辺なのか全く分からない。で私の母の家は爆心地、原爆ドームのそばの原爆が炸裂したところが900メートルのところにあって、全滅の町、家も跡形もない、分かんない。
It was on August 6, 1945, when the Americans dropped the world's first atomic bomb over the Japanese city of Hiroshima. The impact was nothing short of catastrophic. The explosion killed some 80,000 people and wiped out 90% of the city. Satoshi was living in the Yamaguchi prefecture, next to Hiroshima at that time. Upon hearing the news of the bombing, his mother, who was from Hiroshima, set off to the devastated town to look for her family. Sadly, many of her family members did not survive the attack. They died within weeks of each other.
母の家が近かったから母はまず母の家実家に探したんですけども、当時子供がたくさんいて両親と兄弟が10人いたんだけど、数日間探し回るんだけど分からない。そこから5キロぐらいの小学校に避難していることが分かって、そこを訪ねた時家族6人がたくさんの人たちと一緒に寝そべで手当てを受けておりました。そのうち4人が次々に亡くなって、1ヶ月の間に4人の家族が亡くなりました。家の下敷きになってかろうじて逃げ延びた母の父と母、妹と弟、4人が次々に亡くなりました。
3 days later, a second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, where an estimated 40,000 people were killed. Thousands of others died later from exposure to radiation in both Hiroshima, and Nagasaki. Those who survived, including Satoshi's mom, suffered from acute signs or symptoms of radiation exposure from the atomic bomb. Even Satoshi was not spared.
食道がんなんですかね、食道がんになりました。で、食道を私は切って、食道今ありません。60になった頃に喉の下にがんが出まして、これも放射線治療で、また放射能を浴びるのかって嫌だったんだけれども、対立するためには仕方がない。これ食道と同じように切ったら声が出なくなりますからね。放射線で対立したんだけど、そのために唾液腺というのがあって唾が出なくなっちゃって。
The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were in response to Japan's refusal to abide by an ultimatum issued by the Allied forces. In the Potsdam Declaration on July 26, 1945, the Allies had demanded that Japan offer its unconditional surrender or face an inevitable and complete destruction of its armed forces and the Japanese homeland. Japan, however, rejected calls for its surrender and continued with its war efforts. And in early August 1945, the Allies made the decision to drop the newly developed atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bombings continued to polarize opinions, even until today. Those who oppose it say that the bombings were akin to crimes against humanity, while others point out that the bombings brought World War II to a quick end and put a stop to Japanese atrocities. And that's what former Japanese soldier Toshio Seki feels. The 95-year-old was only 17 when he was drafted into the army to become a pilot in the Air Force. He was posted to Singapore during the Japanese occupation of Southeast Asia. He's among those who express his dismay over the Japanese surrender to the Allied forces following the atomic bombings of the two cities.
結局各地の戦闘で日本軍はどんどん負けていったわけです。だからこのままでは負ける可能性があるということで、みんなそうに思ってたと思う。口には出さなかったですけどね。で結局、日本が負けたということは、今まで考えられなかったことなんで、しばらくは本当のことを言って自分らの気持ちをどういうふうに表すのかと。でこれから我々どうするのかという気持ちで、それで結局我々パイロットだけで、討論会みたいなことをやったわけで、どうしようかと。いくつかの案が出て、一番強かったのは我々は国籍を返納して我々だけで戦おうじゃないかという意見が強かったと思います。ということで、軽挙盲導はやめようと、我々だけのあれというような形になったと思います。
On August 15, 6 days after the bombing of Nagasaki, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender. That brought World War II to a close. It also marked the beginning of a long road to recovery for a shattered Japan and the start of a 7-year occupation by the US. It was at this time that the Americans drafted the Japanese Constitution, including the contentious Article 9, most commonly known as the Pacifist Constitution. The article renounces war and bans the use of force to settle international disputes. It also bars Japan from possessing a military with war potential.
その憲法というのは戦後の日本国憲法のことですけれども、それはアメリカが占領当時にある程度影響力を及ぼしてできた憲法で、その大きな目的の一つは大日本帝国時代のような制度が日本でもう一度蘇らないようにと、そういう目的も込めて作られた憲法なんですね。でその大きな理念の3本柱と呼ばれているのは、平和主義、国民主権、基本的人権の尊重と、この3つは大日本帝国時代の日本にはなかったもので、 で日本を民主主義の国に変えるにはその3つを中心に価値観を作り直さないといけないということで、それでできてきたのが日本国憲法だったんですけれども、当然それは大日本帝国時代の制度や価値観に共感する人たちにとっては許せない。もう一度そこに戻そうとしても日本国憲法がある限りはなかなかそこに戻すことができないと。
Regarding Article 9, which is the core of the Peace Constitution, it does pretty much restrict the use of force in a conflict situation, and some people are very for it still, and some people say it's good in principle, but it might not suit what Japan needs right now in terms of the international security situation. And so the conservatives support a revision because they think that Japan should be stronger in this very difficult times.
Despite having a pacifist constitution, Japan actually has one of the world's best equipped militaries, the SelfDefense Forces. It was established in 1954 in line with Article 9, which accords the country the right to maintain its own self-defense. Today, the SDF are also involved in international peacekeeping operations.
Although it completely prohibits having military power, but it should be understood as the right of pure self-defense cannot be banned by Americans. So with that understanding, the general view was that Japanese self-defense forces cannot be sent abroad. But the Americans and other countries requested Japan to participate in peacekeeping operations of the United Nations. But it is not the saying of militarism at all.
But the legality of Japan's Self-Defense Forces, or SDF, has been a point of debate for years now. Several opposition parties consider the existence of the SDF as unconstitutional, as it supports Japan's militarization efforts. In July 2014, however, the Japanese government approved a reinterpretation of Article 9 to help clear the air. Among others, it allows Japan to exercise the right to a collective self-defense and engage in military action if one of its allies were to be attacked.
個別的自衛権というのは日本自体が直接に外国からの武力攻撃を受けたときにそれに対して必要な限りで対処する武力を行使するそれが個別的自衛権になります。集団的自衛権は違います。他国が武力攻撃を受けているときにそれに対応するために日本が武力を行使するというものです。そういう意味では果たしてそれを自衛権ということが適切な言い方なのかどうか、それも疑わしいところが、ないわけではありません。
でもその目的は国の独立を守るためです。世界の平和を守るためです。
Further interpretations were then made by the Liberal Democratic Party-led government. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe seems intent on pushing through amendments that will pave the way for Japan's rearmament. But is that the right course of action for Japan to take? What are Mr. Abe's real reasons for wanting to push through proposed amendments? Japan emerged from the Second World War crushed and defeated. It was also greatly despised by many of its Asian neighbors for its brutality during its years of military occupation. To ensure that Japan would not wage war ever again, a post-war constitution was drafted by the Allied forces under its supreme commander, General Douglas MacArthur, and later approved with minor changes by the Japanese Diet. Despite its limitations, Japan's Self-Defense Forces today has emerged as the world's fourth most powerful military in conventional capabilities. But that has not stopped the Abe administration from revisiting Article 9 of the Constitution. The Liberal Democratic Party-led government of Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has made clear plans to amend the post-World War II pacifist constitution, particularly in reference to the section of the Charter which renounces war. He wants to ensure greater legitimacy and legal status for the SDF to help it expand its role overseas. But despite winning a majority in the upper house, it fell short of the two-thirds majority that Abe needed in order to move ahead with the constitutional amendments.
賛成ではないというのが今度の参議院選挙の結果、国民が示した民意であるということは非常に明確になったんではないかというふうに思うんです。ですからこの審判をしっかりと安倍首相、安倍政権は受け止めて、そして改憲の動き、その策動を中止せよということを強く今言っています。
And for Abe, it's his main agenda. One of his main agenda is to, his dream is to revise the Constitution. That's his main agenda, his hope. But the upper house elections, the LDP, Liberal Democratic Party, and the Komeito coalition failed to get the two-thirds majority in the upper house, which is necessary to propose constitutional revision. So LDP will have to look for partners in order to get that constitutional revision to be proposed for a national referendum. It's one of the last remaining agendas that he wants to realize, but as you know, politics gives us many tasks to tackle, and we don't know yet whether Prime Minister Abe will be able to realize his agenda yet. But it will be more debated, I think.
Mr. Abe has cited continuous security threats in the region as reasons for the proposed amendments. He wants no room for doubt over the legality of the 250,000-strong SDF. Security concerns include tensions with the nuclear-armed North Korea. In 2017, Pyongyang fired 2 ballistic missiles that flew over Hokkaido, Japan's second-largest island. The first was launched on August 29th, and the other just 17 days later on September 15. Mr. Abe called the tests a reckless act and an unprecedented, serious and important threat. While North Korea's tests drew international criticism, Japan sees China as a more serious threat. More specifically, Beijing's expanding military footprint in the region. Sino-Japan ties have been fraught due to a dispute over the ownership of a series of uninhabited islands in the South China Sea, called the Senkaku in Japanese and Diaoyu in Chinese. The islands are controlled by Japan, but claimed by China. Some experts have voiced concerns that these islands could be on the front line for a new global flashpoint.
North Korea is in our proximity to the Japanese islands, and before, when you say Korean Peninsula, North Korea issue, their missiles didn't quite reach the Japanese islands. Well, actually, it did reach Noto Peninsula. It's on the northern Japan side in the 1990s with their Nodong missiles. But now, as you know, their missiles have varied and have become much more enriched, strengthened. They may even have nuclear weapons. They may be able to put nuclear weapons on those missiles. But China is a bigger concern. It could be a threat because of its expansion, militarily, economically. And yes, China is a growing power, so naturally it's going to expand its power. 10 years ago, no, but now they're reaching, Chinese planes and Chinese ships are reaching the Japanese waters surrounding Japan or the air defense zones and so forth, and EEZs, exclusive economic zones, and so forth. So it's to Japan, it looks like China's encroaching us, and thus we have to take more measures to defend Japan's territory.
China, the defense spending is very rapidly growing, and now it is about 3 times Japan's defense budget. But it's not actually it is not so surprising thing, because the Chinese GDP has grown very rapidly. 40 years since Deng Xiaoping had the power in China. In these 40 years, the Chinese GDP increased more than 227 times, while its defense spending increased 67 times. So the very rapid increase of Chinese defense spending is not actually proof of the Chinese militarism, because the growth of defense budget is not as fast as its economy. But already China's defense spending is 3 times larger than Japan, and in the coming 1 year or 10 years or so, it will become 5 times, 6 times, and even larger. So some, of course, fear that Japan can be, swallowed by the new major power.
But not all Japanese are convinced that China and North Korea pose a clear threat to Japan and do not see the need to rearm itself and take up an expanded role overseas. There are others, such as Yoshie Sakamoto, who don't believe that such threats exist in the first place.
それはみんな中国の脅威とかいろいろ言いますよね。でも私はそうは思っていなくて、それはやっぱり今の自民党の方針、安倍首相の方針ということで軍事力の強化、友人なんかと話するとでも中国がってよく言いますけども、私はそれはやっぱり昔から仮想敵国っていう言葉があるじゃないですか。昔はソ連が仮想敵国、共産主義の国が仮想敵国でもソ連との間に戦争が起こったわけでもないし、安倍さんが都合のいいようにそれを利用しているっていうふうに思いますよね。
Yoshie, a former journalist, had lived through the war as a little girl and has seen firsthand how it changed and destroyed many lives. And she's hoping that Prime Minister Shinzo Abe will back down from his determination to push through constitutional amendments to rearm the nation.
そこまでなってませんけども、それを憲法で認めてしまったらば日本はまた戦争する国になってしまう。で私は個人的には父親が戦争で戦死しているっていうこともあって、あれです。子供の頃から戦争反対だったんですね。幼稚園の時に父親が出征して、その時は東京に住んでたんですけども、それから、あと、東京大空襲3月10日、昭和、あれは20年3月10日の東京大空襲を私東京にいて経験してる。もう下町の方が全部焼かれて、戦争終わってお父さん帰ってくるっていうふうに思って、もうみんな日本は負けたっていうんで大人たちは泣いたりしょげたりしてたけど、私はお父さん帰ってくるっていうので喜んで待ってた。でも父親は中国で死んで帰ってこなかったっていうことから、母親は戦争未亡人になって大変苦労して子どもたちを育てて。
Former Japanese soldier Tadamasa Iwai is also one who's against Mr. Abe's plan to amend the constitution. The 99-year-old, who was trained as a suicide diver in the Navy, has seen enough destruction and turmoil from the war that he does not wish history to repeat itself.
その特攻隊を選んだみたいな格好になっちゃってるんじゃない。だけどその特攻隊を選んだわけじゃないんですよ。これがね、貴様たちの棺桶だ、棺桶だ、そういうような説明があったんですね。それね、それさすがにゾッとしたんですよ。 形はね魚雷の形、魚雷の大きくしたような形。これはね93魚雷っていう普通の魚雷をね改造して操縦席をつけたなんだよね。今は絶対にこの憲法でね戦争はやらない、やれないことになってるんだ。それを言ってなぜね戦争ができるようにしたいんだというのは戦争をやるつもりだからですよ。戦争をやるつもりだから戦争できるようにしたいわけだ。あるいはね改憲と言ってるけれどもね単にねその憲法という法律の条文だけの問題じゃないの。実際に戦争をやるかどうかの選択の問題なんですよ。
In spite of these concerns, Mr. Abe will want to achieve what no other prime minister before him has done: to amend the country's pacifist constitution and allow Japan to have its traditional military force once more. In 2014, in a historic move, Mr. Abe and his government passed bills that reinterpreted parts of Article 9. For the first time since World War II, Japan's military would now be allowed to fight overseas in defense of its allies.
安倍首相自身がとにかく9条を変えるということを焦点に置いて、この間も自民党の改憲案でも出してきましたけども、やっぱり狙いもそこにあるんだということがいよいよはっきりしたと思うんですね。9条の1項と2項でとにかく戦争を放棄して、そして二度とその戦争をしない、で2項でもう軍隊で持たないと言っているわけですけども、それはそれで置いといた上に、それと別項で全条のことについてはその全条の規定にかかわらずということで自衛隊を書き込むというふうになると、結局その1項2項の制約から離れた自衛隊が憲法上に明記されて、でその自衛隊というのはすでに安倍政権の下で憲法の解釈を変えて海外で集団的な自衛権を行使できるようになってきているっていう、その自衛隊を今度憲法に書いちゃうということになりますので、文字通り1項2項の制約から解き離れたれて、で米軍と一緒になって行動できる、で軍事戦争できる、軍隊になっていくと。でここは非常に危険なところだと思うんで、それに対するやっぱり危機感と、そして国民の中でも市民と野党も共闘って広がってますけれども、そうした9条改憲はダメだよねと、いうことが非常に今問題になっているんだと思いますね。
But even as Mr. Abe seeks to legitimize the nation's self-defense forces, it's already remilitarizing itself in unprecedented ways. Tokyo is set to receive its first aircraft carrier since World War II, and more. But amending the constitution remains Mr. Abe's long-term goal. The change would formally allow Japanese military to assume the traditional role it has lost for the past 70 years. So what does that mean for Japan? The radically changed security environment in the post-war era has posed serious challenges to Japan's security policy. It's now facing an increasingly powerful and assertive China on the one hand, and an unpredictable nuclear-armed North Korea on the other. China has been modernizing its military capability to secure its interests as a rising regional power, while a defiant North Korea has shown little signs of abandoning its nuclear ambition. Amid growing security challenges in the region, Japan is looking to amend its pacifist constitution to give its military more bite. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is leading the pack of supporters of constitutional change.
中国は今どんどんと軍事力を拡大をしている。戦闘機も軍艦もあるいは陸軍も航空母艦を持ち、原子力潜水艦を持ち、核兵器を持ち、弾道ミサイルを持ち、大きな力を持っている。 ものすごく大きな日本の3倍ぐらいの国防費をかけている。日本に対して攻撃をする能力を中国は持っています。
Yeah, China is the bigger strategic threat. Yes, a threat or concern, right? And North Korea is more immediate and stable threat or concern for Japan, and it's always been around the Korean Peninsula issue. But yes, China is the bigger one, and North Korea is the smaller concern.
Although Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is keen to redefine the role of its armed forces and remilitarize Japan, it has in fact already begun to rearm itself in ways never seen before since the end of World War II. In December last year, the Japanese government announced that its defense budget will be increased to a record $47 billion for the fiscal year that began in April this year. That was the 5th year in a row that the Abe administration has increased defense spending. Among others, the allocation will be used to purchase 105 F-35A stealth jets and acquire Japan's first aircraft carriers since World War II. The gradual but consistent shift in Japan's defense stance is one of the region's key developments in the last few years.
Since 1950, when Japan started rearm, by the order of General MacArthur, Japan has rather faithfully obeyed to the American line. Gradually, Japanese defense power has been strengthened and modernized.
In 1952, the United States and Japan signed a security treaty. The US also pledged to defend Japan in the event of an attack. The treaty grants the US the right to base military forces in Japan in exchange for its protection. But under President Donald Trump, America's international military and trade deals are coming under increasing scrutiny in Washington. This includes the US-Japan Defense Treaty. Mr. Trump is said to be considering the US withdrawal from the agreement, leaving a void in Japan's defenses. Reports say that the US president is unhappy about the deal that promises US aid if Japan comes under attack, but not vice versa.
First of all, the US-Japan alliance is still intact, and Japan is trying to make it stronger as for its own security, as well as for the global security as well. But with President Trump, there's a lot of unpredictable factors, and he likes to deal with everything. So alliances are just one of those things, unfortunately. But he is friends with Prime Minister Abe, apparently. So politically, US-Japan relations is in a good state, and the alliance is still being supported by America. But the Trump factor, as they say, President Trump might want Japan to pay more to upkeep the alliance and take on a more, burdens or responsibility in keeping up our own security as well as regional security.
日米安全保障条約の中身というのはどういうものかというと、日本をアメリカが守ります。アメリカは自分の国の憲法の手続きに従って日本を守りますよということになっているわけですね。じゃあ日本はアメリカに対して日本を守るために自衛隊の力だけじゃ足りないことがあるから、日本を守るためのアメリカに対して基地を提供しますよと。陸軍であり海軍であり空軍であり海兵隊であり、そういう基地を提供しますよっていうのが日米安全保障条約なんですね。でもそれだけじゃない。極東のすなわちフィリピンから北朝鮮半島を含む地域、この 平和のためにも日本はアメリカに基地を貸しますよっていう関係になってるわけね。
But many Japanese are also doubtful if the US would come to Japan's aid in the event of an attack. Yoshie Sakamoto, for one, feels that the US needs Japan to help fulfill its strategic objective instead of protecting the country.
過去アメリカは日本を守る役割っていうところが私にとってはアメリカは日本を守るために日本に基地を置いているって言いますけども、アメリカは日本を守るために基地を置いているのではなくて、アメリカはアジアの国々に対して。
Besides, she says, rearming Japan might just open up old wounds, especially for neighboring countries. Countries such as China, South Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, and others still remember the war and what the Japanese troops did to the people of these countries back then.
それはアジアの国々は日本が軍事力を持ったことによって日本の軍事国家日本によってどれだけ侵略されどれだけ痛めつけられてきたかっていうことをまだみんなちゃんと覚えてますよね。70数年前だって中国だって朝鮮だってもちろんベトナムだってシンガポールだって、全部日本は侵略したわけで、軍事国家日本がまた復活したら大変なことになると思ってるじゃないですか。その割に日本は反省してないんですよね。
Mr. Abe, however, holds a different view. He feels that a stronger military is needed to defend the country and deter possible aggression. And with a mercurial and an unpredictable strategic ally like Mr. Trump as US President, it remains uncertain if the US will honor its security commitment to Japan in the event of a future conflict. But how would Japan's remilitarization program affect the region? Will it help secure a lasting peace or trigger greater instability in Asia? The dramatic shift in Japan's security policy has sent shockwaves around the region, particularly in China and South Korea, two countries that suffered the brunt of Japan's military aggression in the 20th century. Both countries have expressed dissatisfaction over the move to elevate Japan's position as a capable military force and a strategic actor in the region. Beijing in particular has urged Tokyo to adhere to a purely defensive policy. China's wariness of Japan dates back to pre-World War II, when Imperial Japanese Army forces invaded the city of Nanking in December 1937. The Nanking Massacre, as it is infamously known, saw the brutal murder of at least 200,000 Chinese at the hands of the Japanese army, leaving the city struggling to recover from the atrocities and the devastation for decades.
強烈な拒否感というか、もう反対の声が上がるのは間違いないと思います。やはりそういう点では特によく喧嘩やいじめに例えられますけれども、殴った方は忘れるけども殴られた方は絶対忘れないっていうのがやっぱりあって、戦争でどれだけの被害を受けたか、植民地支配でどれだけもう恥ずかしめを受けて、とにかくたくさんの犠牲があったか。時も博物館確かありましたよね。そういうところでもちゃんと継承されてる、そういう人たちから見たら日本がまたって時のことを懲りずにっていうふうになったら、もうその中国韓国を含めたアジアの方々の怒りっていうのは相当なものではないかと思いますね。
Former TV producer Yoshie Sakamoto is among scores of Japanese who believe that a rearmed Japan would send jitters across the region. She is worried that Mr. Abe's military ambition for the country will harm Japan's relationship with its neighbors.
日本が軍事力を持ったらば、中国と韓国だけじゃなくて世界中、特にアジアの国々からはものすごく 脅威にも思われるっていうだけじゃなくて失望されるっていうか、日本はせっかく反省したわけじゃないですか。1945年にもう戦争はしません、もう侵略はしませんって謝ったわけ。それでまだ100年も経たないうちにまた軍事力を持つって、それはもう本当に世界中というよりも特に私なんかも直接的にアジアの国々に対してはあまりにもそれはひどいっていうか約束違反でしょう。そうすればそれは中国だって韓国だって特に中国や韓国は日本に最も手痛く侵略されていたわけですから。
Tadamasa Iwai, who was trained in the Imperial Japanese Navy as a human torpedo, said that Japan would risk being viewed as a threat from its neighbors and partners as it moves to ramp up its military strength.
中国にあれされてるんじゃなくて、自らね自分を中国の攻撃対象にしてるわけ。もう一つ言いたいのはね、日本はね今までね外国から攻撃されたってことはないんだよ。
Japan's move to strengthen and legitimize its self-defense forces has put a dent on Sino-Japan ties. Its claims of ownership of the uninhabited Senkaku Islands have only made matters worse. From the Japanese perspective, however, China's persistent challenge over the sovereignty of the islands is the primary reason behind the shift in its security policy.
Japan is worried because China now more able to reach those islands. So people say that those Senkaku or Ryutai, those islands, can be a source of conflict between Japan and China. I don't think it's going to be an all-out war if, God forbid that it would happen, but there could be, a small military conflict, which could be very, very, dangerous. Okay, so that is the reading of security experts. So we are trying to prevent a military conflict from happening.
そういうことは起こらないということを私は真剣に願っておりますけれども、仮に中国との間で実際に戦闘が起これば日本国内の自衛隊の基地、それから米軍の基地、たちまち中国のミサイル攻撃を受けるだろうと思います。ほぼ戦闘可能になってしまう。特に沖縄がそうだろうと思いますね。それは日本の憲法がどうであろうと同じことだと思います。
But that has not changed Mr. Abe's dream and his long-held ambition to change the legal status and legitimacy of the country's military. Even though polls show that less than 50% of the Japanese public is in favor of the move to amend the country's pacifist constitution. Some Japanese, such as Satoshi Tanaka, for example, feels that the changes would not be necessary. If anything, it would only bring more harm than good to the country.
日本の憲法は平和主義、絶対平和主義っていうのがある。基本的人権の尊重、国民主権、この3つの大きな要素があって、これは壊してはいけないということではね、今の憲法はそれを十分満たしていると思うから必要ないんですけど、より良い憲法にするためには今これまでの憲法はずっとだから変えてはいけないというのと、で例えば自衛隊というのは憲法に変えてない。で戦争放棄してるといっても最低限日本は守る権利はあるわけですからね、自らを守る権利があるんだから、そういう自衛隊を憲法に明記してもいいじゃないかという考え方があるんだけども。
Likewise, 95-year-old Toshio Seki hopes that Mr. Abe's government would look at improving Japan's self-defense security measures. As a former pilot in the Imperial Japanese Air Force, he feels that any possible militarization of the country will only bring the country closer to a conflict.
あれは生かせるんだったらそのいったものに対してもし何かで亡くなるようなことがあるかもわからない。でその人たちにはまあ十分な手当てを出せるように手厚い方法に変えていくべきじゃない。でただ救助全部はなくす必要はないと思います。いうことをそこだけを変えるようにしたらどうか。
日本がやったからじゃあうちもやるぞとこうにはなんないにしてもですね、しかし日本がその軍隊を持ち、救助を変えて軍隊を持ち、そして軍事力を強化するとなった時には逆に日本がこの脅威の存在になってくると。でそれに対して国守るかっていうことになると、それに対するやはり議論というのがまた出てきて、それでそれぞれの国についてもじゃあ外交をやると同時にじゃあそういうことに対してどう備えるのかっていうふうなことを考えなきゃいけなくなっちゃう、そういう状況を作ってくるってなると新たな軍拡の可能性は否定できないと思うんですね。むしろそれを日本が旗を振るっていうことになるっていうことはもう二重三重にもあってはならないというふうに思うんですね。その辺は非常に大きな問題を作り出すんじゃないでしょうか。
I think as far as China and North Korea is concerned, they will be very critical about Japan, revising the constitution. But even then, friendly countries like South Korea, who have a historical past, will be very cautious and some of them very critical about it. But so that is why Japan has to explain to other countries for them to understand Japan's intentions, that we want to be more, active in contributing to international cooperation.
Perceived threats from China and North Korea have put Japan in a precarious situation. They have forced Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to reconsider the future growth trajectory of Japan's military. And though the Japanese people are divided over the rearmament and the amendment of the country's pacifist constitution, Mr. Abe seems determined to build up the country's military strength in view of the increasingly uncertain security environment and shaky security alliance with the US. But one thing is clear. How Japan chooses to use its military force and exercise its military might in the future could change the balance of power and reignite disputes with countries in the region.